Programming skills using C, lecture number 21, function programs continued. In this lecture, you will write more function subprograms in C using arrays and matrices. Well, let us come to the first of these. We are going to write three functions here. So write functions to input numbers into an array, print the content of an array, and one more function to calculate the average of n numbers in an array. So this is the first function. First function, as you see, the name of the function is input array, fn input array. Input array where? Of input array n numbers into this array. So these are the parameters you are going to pass, n and int a to 20. You declare their type here. Then int I, here is the code for inputting n numbers. For I is equal to 1 to n here. So scanf %d, it scans these numbers into, therefore ampersand ai into this array. I am going to pass an empty array. It is going to fill that array with these numbers doing this. Then the print the content of the array. Again function print array. Print n numbers in this array which contains numbers. So I'm going to pass an array which contains numbers. Then again, as you've done earlier, printing for I is equal to 1 to n here. So printf %dai. It prints the content of that array. Then next function is to find the average of n numbers in this array. So fn average, n numbers in this array. So this is the code for finding out the average, which we have done earlier. We are just getting that code and putting it here in this as part of this function subprogram, because this is the block wherein we put the code. So int sum I, float average, sum is equal to 0. You are going to find the sum of all the numbers, n numbers in this array, and then divide by n, you get the average, you return average. So this is the third function which you have to write. Now we come to the whole program as it is written, as you see here. So here float function average of n numbers in this array, function input array, n numbers into this array, print array, n numbers in this array. So this is what we are going. These are the prototypes of functions which have to come before the main. Please remember that. And every prototype ends with the semicolon as it is shown here. Then we come to main. So we declare the local variables. I am declaring an array called x with 20 numbers. You can store up to 20 numbers. Then float average. Then this is the title. I want to enter the number value of n. How many numbers you want to input? I get that number. And unlike earlier times what we did, we said for I is after that for I is equal to 1 to n. Then you scanf we said. Now all that has gone into this function. You just call this function input array n comma x. Please remember, n and x, don't put x square brackets 20, nothing. Just the name of the array is given and name of the variable is given. Please remember that. So when it is passing array, you just give the name of the array or matrix later. So print array nx. So prints, therefore immediately this function goes to the code and prints the content n numbers which are contained in this array. Then again you are calling this function. We have written already the function earlier. Now we are going to show it later. So finds the average of n numbers in this array. So it gets the average, puts it there. Then I print the average of those numbers. And these are the functions we have written earlier. Again, please remember these functions have to come after the main program, after the second curly bracket of the main program. So void again, function input array, n numbers into this array. Function average of n numbers in this array. We have gone through that. And with that, we come to more functions which you are supposed to write. First of this function is now function to return standard deviation of n numbers in an array. So presume that there are numbers in this array. You find the standard deviation. We have done all that earlier. So whatever we have done earlier, now it is coming for the third time. So standard deviation. Similarly, we have done the bubble sort. So to sort n numbers in an array using bubble sort. So the function name is function bubble sort. Or bubble sort, how many? N numbers in this array, A array. So all that code has to come here which you have to write. Similarly, return maximum number in an array. We have done that. Find the maximum number. So it is coming back again, function max array, or in an array which contains n numbers in A. Then reverse the content of an array. So you input an array which contains numbers, and how many numbers there are, it should reverse the content of the array and give it back to you. So that is. Then next is to return the cosine of an angle in degrees by summing the terms till the value of the term generated becomes less than 0.001. So that is to be done inside this cos x. You send theta into that, convert that into x, so, and do the summation of that series as you have done earlier. So all that has to be done. So now write C program. Pause this video. You write C programs for all these function subprograms to calculate various results. Cosine of an x, then standard deviation of n numbers in an array, then print array, input array, and all these functions. You do that. I will show you one of the programs. This write function subprograms to input, print, and find standard deviation of n numbers in an array. Use them in the main program to find the standard deviation of n numbers in an array. So as you see here, we are declaring here the prototypes of all the three functions: input array, print array, standard deviation of n numbers in this array. Then the main program, I just call this, as you see, we declare these local variables. Then I input the value for n, then input array as you have done earlier, n comma x, that's all. Then print the content of the array, print the content nx. Then you say standard deviation is equal to function standard deviation nx. It calculates the standard deviation, puts it into this variable, and then you print therefore standard deviation of n numbers in that array. So that is what you have to do. And here you have got the function subprogram which have to be written after the main, as I have told you earlier. Again, input array, n numbers into this array, as you see, ampersand I. Then print array, again n numbers into this array. Then we come to function standard deviation. We have done all this earlier, as you remember. First you find sum x, then find the sum of square of each x, each value in this array A, and then find first term, which is sum x square divided by n. Find the average. Term 2 is equal to average into average. Standard deviation is equal to SQRT of term 1 minus term 2. Return standard deviation. These are the three functions you have to write, and you have to use them in the main program. And I have shown you here. So I have inputted 10 numbers, a program to find standard deviation of some numbers. So some numbers, how many? 10 I have entered. As you see, I have entered numbers. I have printed the content of that array and found out the standard deviation. As you see, since these numbers are very close to 10, 10 is 10, 10, 10, almost average. I think I should have found the average and printed also, to give you an idea. So therefore standard deviation is very less. So this is how you have to do your programs, and understand what you have written. Understand what you have written, not just be mechanical in what you do. So again, I would like you to write now more functions. Write function subprogram, input, print, and sort using bubble sort. Use them and write the main program in which you will use. Write function to, as I said, now this is very interesting. Write a function to return cosine of an angle in degrees by summing the terms of the series till the value of the term generated becomes less than 0.001. And then use this function in the main program to list the cosine of angles between 0 and 90 for every 10 degrees. As you remember, we have done similar program for finding out the converting centigrade to Fahrenheit. Similarly here, you write this thing, degrees, angle, 0, 10, 20, etc. Opposite to that, the cosine. So 0 means it will 1, then it will come to 0.99, etc. Going up to, when you comes to 90 degrees, it has to be 0. From 1, it has to go on decreasing. So make a chart like that and show the results. And there are more function subprograms you have to write. Kindly go through these. So the input matrix, print matrix, add matrices, and mult matrices. You have to do that and use these functions in the main program. Similarly, write a function to return the trace of a square matrix. So input, you get the value of n, and you pass one matrix, square matrix, and then find the trace of that. We have done that program. Sum of digits of a number, you pass a multi-digit number, it should return the digits, sum of the digits. Here, write a function program to reverse a given number. So a number is given, you have to reverse the given number. And here, write a function to find out whether a given number is a prime number. If it is prime number, if this number is prime, it has to return 1, or else it has to return 0. The name of the function is prime. I'm asking you whether this number is prime. Please do that. And with that, we complete this session. More problems will follow.